Make it happen moments of the majors. Brought to you in association with RBS, the Royal Bank of Scotland Group. Augusta National, a slice of heaven in the American South that transcends golf. It is one of the most celebrated sporting venues in the world, where players are tested to their physical and emotional limits. Scenic and brutal, beguiling and demanding in equal measure, it always delivers true champions and great Jack Nicklaus and the Masters, forever synonymous. 6 green jackets were draped around those broad shoulders, and here the great man has Georgia on his mind as he recalls Masters highlights with Peter Allis.
Jack, you and the Masters at Augusta sort of go hand in glove. Particular memories and moments for you, the first time you went, the number of times you've been, special things about it?
Well, the Masters, there are many special moments at Augusta for me. I mean, the first time I drove down Magnolia Lane, 1959, it's still the same today. The same thrill. Driving in the gate, going down that, and the clubhouse is there. The golf course, you walk out past the clubhouse, and all of a sudden it just opens up to you. This big sea of green with beautiful pine trees. It's a gorgeous sight.
Do you think it's a good course for a championship? I mean, the fact it's played there every year, same place. Do you think it's a good course?
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful golf course. I think I like the old golf course better than the new golf course. The old golf course was in the image of what Bobby Jones thought the game should be. It was pretty wide fairways, a second shot golf course, put the ball. Nobody could believe that shot. I mean, first of all, to try it, which it's the logical shot to try, but it's very difficult when you've played the game of golf all your life and the hole is here and you're here. You usually hit the ball at the hole. You don't hit it away from the hole to get it back to the hole. You do that when you play with, through the windmills and Goonie golf, but not at Augusta.
It was a shot that set Woods on the way to another indelible victory. There have been many wonderful shots in Masters history, but few compare to Tiger's chip. It resonated around the world. Maybe only the playoff heroics of Larry Mize on the 11th hole in 1987 have generated such decibels. After a disappointing approach at the second extra hole, Mize snatched the green jacket from Greg Norman.
1987, Larry Mize, not a big hitter. I mean, he was dead and buried on the 11th. The 11th was very, very lucky to some and unlucky to others, but poor old Greg Norman, he's sitting there thinking, this is my time. Mize blazes it out to the right, 25, 30 yards, whatever it was from the hole, and pops it in. I mean, that's a body blow, isn't it? You couldn't enjoy that. He enjoyed it.
Of course he enjoyed it. Larry Mize has got a great short game, but I don't care what kind of short game you have. If you miss the ball to the right of the 11th green, the shot coming down that hill towards that water is just impossible. If you can get it somewhere where you can make 4, you are just ecstatic.
I was disgusted after my second shot at 11 when I hit it well right of the green. But one of the greatest things about the shot was there was only one shot I could play. There was no indecision. I had to play a sand wedge. I thought anything with less loft would come out too hot or be run too fast. And I couldn't land on the green because they were so hard. I didn't think it was going to go in. I wasn't thinking about making it. I was just thinking about hitting a good aggressive shot. And, it went in, and of course I went up, and it was really exciting. But I just was focused on hitting a good shot.
There's a good modicum of good luck and good fortune.
Oh, absolutely. Obviously Larry was lucky, and Greg was very unlucky. But, you got to think, they did play 72 holes tied.
Yep.
They tied the first extra hole and went to the second extra hole, and Mize did what he did. I mean, I look at what Watson did to me at the Open in Pebble Beach from a place that was just as impossible, and but he did it, and more power to them when they do it.
I know one thing: getting the coat from Jack, my childhood idol, was just icing on the cake. It was just incredible.
A year later, Scotland's Sandy Lyle made it happen in the crucible of pressure that is the 18th hole on Sunday at the Masters. He required a birdie to win, but hopes sank when he found sand from the tee.
Sandy Lyle, comes up the last hole, hits his tee shot in that bunker up the left. Well, those bunkers have been sneakily made bigger over the years, but there he is, 7-iron from the green. That was a hell of a good shot to clip it off the top of the sand from there.
That's a tough shot. The first bunker is difficult to get the ball up and get it to the green. Sandy, as you say, he clipped it right off the top, put it up there pretty close to the hole.
I wasn't happy, obviously, being in the bunker in the first place. I thought my chances in the first bunker getting out onto the green were very, very limited. As it was, when the ball had rolled up the face of the bunker about a foot. That's all it was, just enough to give myself an angle where I could stand with the upslope of the bunker and still got to hit it clean and still got to time and get the distance right, which I did really well. Hit into that airspace, but I was lining up, I think, in a cloud or a tree or something. I couldn't see the green, the pin even. So it all happened as I thought in my mind, and it all came off very well.
You've got that bank on the 18th, that slope in the green. You know on the Sunday pin position when it's on the front, if you can land it 8-9 yards past the hole with a bit of stop on it, well, you got within 10 or 12 feet and hold the putt.
Yep, that's really what you have to do anyway. That's where you want your shot to ultimately end, which is a very friendly place to play. You're still going to have to hold a putt no matter what you do. But that bank is the shot that has to be played in that last round.
I was a little bit disappointed when I got up there, to see the ball was about 15 feet to 18 feet away from the hole. I'd have thought in my mind of what Lee Trevino said to me many, many years ago. He said, if you ever wanted to putt to win a major tournament or any kind of tournament, I'd rather have a 20-foot putt downhill than I would having a 30-foot putt uphill or a 4-foot putt uphill, because you have to hit it. This situation with the green's been so fast, you just basically had to just start the ball off on line and hopefully you pick the line in pace. It retrieves a gold medal in the Olympics. It's just what you've worked for, what you wished you could do, what you've dreamed about from day one when you thought about golf. Was obviously a title like the Masters.
Augusta didn't waste time in supplying shots that will forever be enshrined in golfing folklore. In 1935, Gene Sarazen delivered an albatross.
A series of great shots. I mean, you've contributed a few great shots at Augusta over the years, but in the early days, the beginnings, Gene Sarazen, 1935, his second shot at the 15th, the hole that shot.
You were in the gallery then, I assume. I wasn't quite there.
Well,
yet,
I was in short trousers.
Okay.
Well, that was an amazing shot of Sarazen, because the story goes that they were presenting the trophy to poor old Craig Wood up in the clubhouse, and along comes Sarazen and they have to tear up the check. And
it's one of the most historic great shots in the game of golf, because it's not that he made the 2 at 15, it's that he made the 2 at 15 to win the Masters.
Yeah.
In those days, the fairways were very fast, and you could at least 60, 70-yard roll. Today, the fairways are very lush, very little roll, and I dare say the percentage of the field that reach the green is very, very limited. Fellas like Nicklaus and Palmer can reach it, but as far as the Squire is concerned, he will play his 4-wood short of the water.
The first time I looked at that hole, I couldn't believe anyone had reached the green in 2. What's the shortest club you've ever hit at the 15th?
8-iron.
We're a big boy then.
Yeah.
Over the hill and down and...
Oh, yeah.
I wondered how anybody could ever get on that.
That was in 1964.
Augusta National has an elite membership, and yet it was a man of the people who stamped his authority there. From his breakthrough victory in 1958, the 4-time champion was a figure of hero worship.
Arnold Palmer, friend, adversary, 1958, winning the first, he won four green jackets. Arnold's contribution at that time, it did sort of stir the blood, didn't it? Arnie's army and all that. Did you feel it created an extra something?
Well, Arnold came along at the right time for the game and was in the right place at the right time. Arnold was very good for the game, But he was very fortunate that he came along at that time. And the golfing world was looking for a dominant player. And at the same time, television was just starting to do in golf. So all those things happened, and Arnold became the personality, and a very good one for it.
Certainly there isn't anything that in my life that has been more outstanding than Augusta and my appearances here. Every year is a favorite memory, but winning here at Augusta is something that I revere very much, and I have enjoyed very much over the years.
It all played a part of the great sort of tapestry of Augusta with Arnold winning. And was it really a very special relationship with the patrons? Did they really sort of carry him along on the crest of their adulation, do you think? Did you see it? Did it affect you at the time in the early days?
They certainly weren't carrying me along. They were carrying somebody else along, and that was Arnold. And he loved it. He loved the adulation. He loved the attention. He loved all the things that happened to him. And when he loved it, they loved it. And so, you know, and I've said many times when I was playing, I says, you know, I never had to fight Arnold, only his gallery.
I guess I know most of them from so many years, and the fact that we've had a great relationship from the beginning. They have been very supportive of me through the years, and when things were not so good, they supported me, and when things were great, they supported me.
And he was one of them, wasn't he? They called him the blue-collar champion, but I mean, he did smoke, and he did hitch his pants up, and his hair was a bit unruly, and he did thump it in the trees and go and search it and hit it again. You know, there was an air of excitement about him.
That was Arnold.
A similar aura was beheld over a charismatic entertainer from northern Spain. Severiano Ballesteros had an attacking philosophy and a heart-on-sleeve personality that struck a chord with the Masters faithful.
1980, Seve Ballesteros, 23 years of age, the first European to win at Augusta.
You know, Seve was a good player. You know, there's no surprise in his talent. He had the perfect game for Augusta. He liked to hit it right to left. He liked to hit it high. He was long. He had great imagination around the green. Augusta needs imagination around the green. Seve was the prototype for a good player.
From the very first time that I put my feet in Augusta, I knew that I was going to win the Masters. To become the youngest Masters champion and the first European to win the Masters was something special.
He reminded me in a funny, strange sort of way, a bit of a younger Arnold Palmer, you know, hitting the ball over the plate, doing extraordinary things.
Absolutely the same.
Yeah.
Now, when he won, it opened the floodgates for European players to win at Augusta, because you've had a lot of European players win at Augusta.
The sun had set on American domination of the Masters. Nick Faldo won 3 green jackets and defended his title in 1990, edging Ray Floyd, having been 4 shots adrift with only 6 holes to play.
Now, Nick Faldo, 1990, the final round and the playoff. Faldo was never recognized as a big hitter, was he?
No, Felder was not a monster hitter. He was long enough, and that's what I thought the beauty of Augusta was, that when you played well, you had the ability, if you turned the ball down the hill and you got that extra 20 or 30 yards, you could play and really put yourself in some positions. Sure, you had the tough holes you had to play, but, you know, if you played well and your short game was good, then you always had a chance.
My iron shots that week were amazing. That was probably the most accurate I've ever been, maybe in my life, that week, because Augusta, you get 2 yards to work with. You know, 1 short of the pin and 1 past the pin. And I was landing the ball on the number that week, like 90% of the time. It was quite something.
With the bit squarely between his teeth, the stubborn Englishman sought to become the first player to retain the Masters title since Jack Nicklaus himself in 1966.
And I got myself in it, and then I didn't want to give up my jacket. I thought, I'm not going to put my jacket on somebody else. And I guess you had that determination to just go, I'm just not going to give in.
After a flurry of birdies, Faldo eventually forced a playoff, where he defeated a rather stunned Ray Floyd at the second playoff hole. It was a remarkable comeback, and an emotional defence of his Masters title.
Good morning. Good morning. 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 How are you?
And what about the revival of a South African who could never comprehend defeat?
Gary Player in 1978, that was a great comeback. But at 42 years of age, that was a special thing to do. You were to experience that when you were 46, a few years later.
That's right.
But it was an amazing thing.
Well, Gary Player is a great player.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Gary Player and Ben Hogan, pound for pound, the two greatest players that ever lived. And, you know, if you take their records and the competition that they face and what they did, and Gary Player winning 3 Masters, that's pretty special. I mean, that's a difficult golf course for Gary Player to win on.
He's 42 years of age, and I thought, will I ever be winning a Masters again? And I was playing, and my young son Wayne said to me on that occasion, said, Dad, you're playing so well. If you putt well today, you could go on and shoot 65 and win the tournament.
Player putted like a dream. 7 behind Hubert Green at the start of the final day. He stormed home in 30 for the lowest final round ever recorded, 64.
Whenever I think of a particular shot, I always think probably of the last putt at Augusta, because nobody had ever held a putt downhill to win the Masters up until I did it.
The foundation for Player's success, the power of positive thinking.
Optimism is a very important thing. In my career, I must have won, I would take a guess and say 20 tournaments when I was 6 or 7 shots behind. I suppose it's either in you or it's not.
It was ingrained in Gary Player. Mix talent, will and self-belief, and you have one potent force. In 1986, with eldest son Jackie caddying, 46-year-old Nicklaus turned back the clock to defy all who had written him off.
1986, your final victory at Augusta, 23 years after the first. That's amazing.
My career is over. I hadn't won anything for a couple of years, and, you know, I really hadn't been practicing that hard. I hadn't worked at it. I only played about 12 tournaments a year. I didn't even know why I was still playing. Well, I started out the day. I was only 4 shots behind, so I went out and I kept looking to get something to happen, and nothing really happened on the first 8 holes. I got to 9. I hold that putt, birdied 10, birdied 11, birdied 13, and 15.
Eagle.
I knew I had a chance to win the golf tournament. Then, of course, I hit it at 16, and I'll never forget that, because that was the absolute cockiest remark I have ever made in the game. I hit my shot, and I didn't even bother to look at it. I just reached down, picked up my tee, and Jackie said, "Be right," and I said, "It is."
Not like you.
I mean, as I said, it was the cockiest remark I ever made. I mean, I knew that the ball was perfect. And of course, I hit my tee shot up the left side on 17, a little further left than I wanted, but still I wanted that angle to the hole. Had the angle, hit the shot in a 110-yard wedge. I hit it in about 12 feet. Got over the putt, and Jackie was looking at me. He says, "What do you think?" I said, "Well, Jackie says, I think it's going to go a little right, Dad." He says, "Yeah, but Race Creek's down here on the left." I said, "It's going to turn back to Race Creek and straighten out." And it did. I've putted that putt 1,000 times since. I've never had it go back to Race Creek again. No. But anyway, it went in, and for the first time I was in the lead of the golf tournament. So, I never had a thing, well, I'm okay, maybe I can finish second or third. Never was in my mind. My mind was, I've got a chance to win the Masters again. I'm going to win it.
Home in 30, round in 65. Jack was back, and all of golf rejoiced.
The first time you won at Augusta must have been tremendous. But to win at 46 years of age must have been a tingle. I mean, you were really very, very happy.
Peter, all of them have been great thrills. Every time you win, it's a thrill.
Yeah.
But 86 is the only time that nobody, including me, expected me to win.
Jack Nicklaus, the embodiment of strength under pressure. Augusta National, the epitome of golfing perfection and provider to some of the greatest moments in the game. Make It Happen moments of the majors. Brought to you in association with RBS, the Royal Bank of Scotland Group.